Checkers. Today, checkers is played on a board marked with 64 squares of alternating colors, usually black and red. Each contestant has 12 discs, flat pieces called men. The object is to move these pieces diagonally across the board in such a way as to capture the opponent's men or block their progress. The men can be moved forward only, and only on the black squares. However, if a man reaches the back line on an opponent's side, it is crowned by having a second checker placed on top of it and becomes a king. A king can move and jump backward or forward. A win is scored when an opponent's men are all captured or blocked. Checkers can be interpreted as war turned into a game on a board. Believe it or not, this war game was played by the Egyptians more than 3,000 years ago. Even the pharaohs were known to enjoy checkers. Not only was it a fun pastime, it was a good way to learn about battle strategy and tactics. When pharaohs died, they were buried with their favorite belongings, and these items often included their best checkers sets. The belief was that they would be able to play checkers in the afterlife. The British Museum in London has several ancient checkerboards. The boards are similar to those we use today. However, the ancient boards contain fewer squares, usually 52, and the squares are not colored. Instead of alternating dark and light squares, a colorless gridwork was used. The roots of checkers are intertwined with those of chess, a companion game. It is not known for sure which came first, but because checkers is simpler in form, it is generally believed to be the earlier of the two. Homer, the famous Greek author, mentions checkers in his works. In the Odyssey, most likely composed in the 8th century BC, Homer described the most famous checkers games of all time. While Ulysses is off to war, his wife is under siege by suitors, men who try to persuade her that Ulysses is dead and that she should marry one of them. To pass the time, the suitors play checkers. In 1547, Antonio Torquemada of Valencia, Spain, wrote the first book on the tactics and strategy of checkers. Since then, more than 2,000 books have been published on what today is considered the world's oldest intellectual game. It is also one of the rarest of games in that, like Twister, it has equal appeal for adults and children. The first international checkers tournament took place in 1905. An English team traveled to the United States and won the tournament. In a 1927 rematch, an American team was sent to England and triumphed 96-20. One variation of the game is called losing checkers. The first player to lose all his pieces wins the game. Another form of the game, called international checkers, uses 20 checkers per player and a 100 square board. In this version, men may jump backward as well as forward, and kings may move and jump any distance. In England, checkers is called draughts.